That's one of those oh shit moments.
So
Just
what to take from this is, what did we learn? Okay, don't run sewer next to your well. Okay,
I mean,
we got into septic systems, right? Drainage fields. Now we actually have a code, right, that says you can't have a well within a certain amount of feet of your drainage field. I mean, we went through this when we built my grandparents' cabin, which we built basically from the ground up. So, when we went to do the well and everything, we had to have that all laid out, where the drainage field was, where, the septic tank is, and all that good stuff. And before they would approve the well. So that's, you know, in today's day and age, we have indoor plumbing, and we have, direct drainage that goes to a sewage treatment plant, and it's
mhm.
processed, ultra processed, blah, 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 blah. So we don't have as many problems with diseases or plagues at all. So, yeah, right, Kenneth, 150 to 100. And I believe it was 100 feet for ours up there. So, yeah, have to learn from history, but, uh, a lot of the viruses or stuff that we do vaccines for, don't even really exist. I mean, oh, vaccines wiped this out. No, it didn't. It's because of indoor plumbing, and we're a lot cleaner than we used to be. That's what changed. But nobody wants to put those two and two, correlate those two together. Well, except for me, apparently. But I know that there's other people out there that have recognized the same thing over the years, have posted that kind of stuff. So, the question is what is a vaccine? Oh, well, it gives you the virus. And then within the first 2 weeks, you're a carrier and you're shedding the virus. So how in the hell is that even smart?
Right.
Hey, we pretty much got this licked and don't really have much of a problem. But here we go. Let's infect people with it. And then, completely illogical. Oh, you got to have your child vaccinated. I don't want your child around my child that's vaccinated if your child's not vaccinated, because, you might spread that disease. Wait a minute. If the vaccines work, what are you worried about? Well, let's use some logic and reason here. If the vaccine works, then what are you worried about?
It is what it is.
I don't know.
They are. See, got a question out here from Oklahoma. Do I have standing in Oklahoma? I do have people on the ground in Oklahoma that are doing some really good work over there.
Cool.
That's for Mike Ryan out on YouTube. Trying to read some of the questions here as you guys are doing your thing. Well, know and understand, right? The thing that we do on this show is the law, right? So, Monday Night Law, we went over questions, right? Questions of law, questions of fact, questions in general, right? We covered the emoluments of the court. That seat that sits next to the judge in a courtroom, what's that called? That is a witness stand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if there is false witness, right, and you want oversight against the false witness, whatever the falsehood is, because the law punishes falsehood. It's a fundamental principle, maxim of law. Where do you take that grievance again? What's the letter of the law say? I think we've read that once or twice. Doesn't go to the court.
Petition the legislature with the redress of grievances.
That's right. Because, If what we're saying that these courts, this fourth and fifth pillar, the jurisdiction foreign to our form of government and unacknowledged by our Constitution, is truly in existence, where do you go get rid of that shit? You don't walk into the crime scene and say, hey, put the gun down and put the money back in the bank vault where you got it. What do you think is going to happen to you? Use a little bit of common sense there. Use the brains God gave you, right? So you have to eliminate the environment, the fourth and the fifth pillar, right? That's the bar, right? The Crown Temple bar. That's the our standing joke here at Kirk's Law Corner. Are you going after the bar, bro? And that's one
Mhm.
R, not two, by the way, just for clarification there again, right? So, anyway, this is why when I specifically covered on Monday night the PowerPoint on questions, I was going to do some other stuff first. And then it was like, well, if you're going to present a question before the body, whether that be a FOIA request, whether it be a parliamentary inquiry, whether it be whatever kind of question, right? So, people are saying, okay, well, how do I get relief and remedy? How do I duplicate what you do? I can teach you exactly how to do what I do, right? So, hence the reason why when I put out that short example of that tax case, that sucker's gone, man. That's gone. Gone by the wayside. Did I need a judge to tell me that? No. I needed the letter of the law. If you've read it, you've obviously known it. I am the manager and disposer of my own matters. I'm a big boy. I've been dressing myself since I was 30 now. So, I think I can, I
Only
put
since
my
you were 30.
pants on, you know, and I think I can prepare a simple, yo, dude, somebody had an idea that sounded better in their head here. And I think you need to look at this again before we go back to court. Guess what happened? That's exactly what they did, right? So that went into just a short remonstrance, went straight into the legislature. And you know what? I'm going to show you exactly how I did that because that I think is going to resolve some of the main questions that I'm seeing out here, specifically related to some of the stuff that we're doing um, just in the last, whoops, I would say 30 days ish. So, and that was the tax case. I need to go. Aha, here we are. All right. Now, one of the key issues of making sure that your question gets answered,
Whoa.
okay, is knowing where to send it, right? Huh?
You're all of a sudden your audio just got really loud.
My bad. No, I wasn't yelling at you guys. Sorry.
No, that's just weird. Usually it goes the other way. Usually it goes quiet.
Right? So I'm going to pull this up and we are going to look at this page right here because I want you guys to know how to do exactly what I did. It's kind of the point of doing this show, right? So, and I've divided this into columns, right? This is on the left is the Ohio state actors at the state level, right? This is everybody that was involved at the Ohio or potentially involved at the Ohio state level. Okay. The Ohio House Finance Committee, right? The House Speaker. Why did it go to the House instead of the Senate? The House controls the purse, right? That's the proper location, the proper quorum for a redress with an issue relating to tax grievances, right? Then, of course, the Ohio governor, Article 4, Section 4, right? You have to notify both. And then, of course, this whoever this person was that was laying the false claim, right? That's at the state level, right? State of Ohio. This was at the United States level in Washington, right? Same thing. House of Representative Finance Committee, 2138 Rayburn House Office Building. That's the address. U.S. House of Representatives, House Speaker. Well, that's Pelosi's office, right? There's her address to the Speaker's office in Washington. And then, of course, the Internal Revenue Service headquarters, right? And that's in Washington, D.C. So I did my due diligence, managed my own affairs, right? In my personal capacity. It's that simple. And my joke of Groundhog Day and, you know, platform 9 of free quarters email notwithstanding, right? That's just joking for the show. But this stuff wasn't on the document. This was just for the show, for entertainment purposes for you guys, right? So, but the point is I did this in my I sent them service in my personal capacity, right? Because they were coming after my person for income tax. We don't have income tax in the South, by the way. So that's just one of those northern things. So again, this is what it looks like, the difference between personal and professional capacity. Personal is red, professional is blue, right? Contracts. That's the reason my credentials go under my business name in blue, right? Me as a master of my craft, right? Craftsman. So, and right, I'm doing my corporate headquarters, right? My primary business location is Florida. Everything that you need to know about me and my company, personal and official capacity, is literally right here. Anything you want to know about me, you can find it right there. That's full disclosure in a contract, right? Personal capacity, professional capacity within the letter of the law, locus, jurisdiction, right? I'm in Florida. That's my company name in my official capacity, right? And where there is a right, there is a remedy. Okay, well, we already know what the right is. I already claimed and exercised that. Know what the law is. That was in the preface. So I have a right and I have a remedy. What's the remedy? Expungement. That's what I asked for. So again, this was the perfect case, perfect way for me to show you guys notice this is page 10, mind you.
Hmm.
You know, this is basically the closing of the document, page 10. And what went with this document, other than a couple of pages for them to make notes, just because I'm that kind of guy, right? I sent them my tax filing form from that year, right? Full disclosure, the potential violations under what in commerce? The Hobbs Act, if they're going to come after me in my official capacity as a merchant, right? Here's the cases in personal capacity. Here's the case in official capacity. Here's the case that pretty much beats the shit out of their shit made up statutes, codes, rules, regulations, and garbage is not law,
But believe
right?
it or not, that case right there throws the whole bar under the bus.
Oh, I know all about it. But that's why I said, you know, you know me, I don't do anything small. So
Mm-hmm.
what I did is I included, right, the evidence, a body of law that was applicable under the circumstances because I'm in interstate commerce. Personal capacity, there's three cases: personal, official, and pick both personal and official as far as Peterson v. Peterson goes, right? And then, of course, my government impact analysis or litmus test, right? Performing the duties under the emoluments of my office, right? So This is the full disclosure. What is the litmus test? What does that look like? Well, this is what a free market de jure republic looks like with corporations in their proper context: market, margin, and capital, right? That's New York City specifically. You want to know anything about market, margin, and capital? Go right downtown New York City. You'll find out anything you want to know about market, margin, and capital right there. So, the emoluments, the color of law: advantage, profit, and gain in a de jure republic. Remember, we only have three pillars, we don't have four. So,
Right.
somebody needs to explain this quadrant four here, right? This extra benefits mechanism. See if I can zoom in on that a little bit, right? This benefits mechanism that is outside the letter and the rule of law. These entitlement programs, that Sharia garbage, right? So, this is what I said. This is the impact analysis demonstrating the potential damage to the market, right? The market, margin, and capital with this virtue or virtual capital. Shit that doesn't even exist, shit made up, right? SMU. So, whether they totally understand and comprehend that or not, I don't know, right? Right now, the again, my answer today, and I'll quote this. Where's my phone? Because I don't want to screw it up. Excuse me. The answer I got verbatim today is: all non essential services are suspended until further notice and all clear from the CDC. There it is. So, you want to know anything about what's going on? President Trump, we just showed what his comments are. So that pretty much confirms the answer I got, doesn't it? So, um, just saying. So I hope this really clarifies for you guys exactly what E-clause is, what it does, and my assessing the fourth and fifth pillars of shit made up that don't even exist in my republic, right? That's the Declaration of Independence, conduct of a tyrant, right? That's a jurisdiction foreign to our form of government and unacknowledged by our Constitution, right? That's why it has no standing in law. That's why they have to stand at law, right? Out on the high sea. So Kirk loves to explain that one. He's way better at explaining that one than I am, but I'm just, having a little bit of fun here. And of course, me with my, political design. This is the political design of the scam artists, right? That's it right there. The fourth pillars, right? Advantage, profit, gain, and benefit. There they are. I mean, it's very simple. So, does that look like a republic? No, that would be that representative democracy. That's with all those privileges and immunities and all of that garbage that we know is all SMU. Kind of the short version is everybody fighting for a position that doesn't even exist. So that's why I just thought it was funny as hell. But, and I brought this to their attention and I've basically clarified for them as to why they don't even have standing to do what they did. Right? Said, hey, you know, since we're talking about standing in law here, standing at law, I don't give a shit where you're standing. The judge ordered the standing in this case, and there's very good reason that he did that, because he saw that I'm pretty well educated and a master of my craft. So, that said, he knows damn well I don't want to do this job, but he granted me the standing so I could do it in this case and set the record straight, which is, of course, set these multitudes of new offices packing, right? And remind the legislature that they exist by my consent, right? Hence my incorporation, the proper use of incorporation. So without me, there is no them. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, Congress. but it is what it is, right? You want that, you want the continued services, provide reciprocity. That's the quid pro quo. That's terms, conditions of the contract. I'm very good at contracts. So when they altered the fundamental law in 1996, they forfeited any further standing contract on behalf of and or with its people and businesses, as written in Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution for the United States of America. So, I mean, do I need any statutes, codes, rules, regulations, guidance documents, and any other bullshit made up to state that? Nope. Claimed it, exercised it, walked in there and reminded them, hey, dude, you don't exist without me, like it or not. Suck it up, Buttercup. It is what it is. So quit screwing around and interfering in uh my ability to do my job, and I'll do my job just so long as you do yours within the letter of the law. So, quit punting powers you don't have, right? Creating a multitudes of offices, right? They don't have the power to do that, right? They don't even have power to grant somebody else the permission to claim powers they don't have, right? Hence the limitations of government. So, ironically, as this boiled down to nothing more than a simple civics lesson, at least for me, it was okay, well, if we're going to play law, we're going to play government, we're going to play contracts. Well, again, I know the four corners rule. I've seen this before, right? Once or twice ish. So, you know, that's one of the primary reasons I was able to, you know, work this out the way that I did. But if you'll notice, when I went in here and I talked about, remember, what's the question, right? So, um, to me, the question was fairly simple. I say it right here. So I'm basically being punished for saying keep the change. Seriously? You mean to tell me government has nothing better to do with its time than worry about issues originating from less than $20? That's a question of fact. Call it what it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, there's no shit made up there. Oh, and there's the letter of the law, the standard, the minimum standard. They don't even meet the minimum standard. Statutes of limitations notwithstanding, right? They don't even meet the minimum standard here. What the hell are you doing?
And even with that, they're still not following due process of law.
Point exactly, right? So because I followed due process of law,
Should have went to a
pointing out,
small claims court.
yeah, pointing out that they didn't follow due process of law, right? That just shit made up. You see what I'm saying? That's why preserving certain defenses, one of those being failure of consideration, injury by fellow servant, why does that apply? Well, what did I just say up here? In my official capacity, that's who I am, right? You're going to try to take me out of my job. That's interfering in interstate and foreign commerce, right? That's the Hobbs Act, right? That's why the Hobbs Act is mentioned in this document. So I I hope that really clarifies that, because I know you guys have had many questions on this, and I'm doing everything I can to try to clarify this for you guys as quickly and as easily as I can, because it's so simple. I mean, that's what, 10-ish pages there. You know, it doesn't require a whole lot of, oh my god, I gotta go read a book stack of books this big. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. So I already took the brunt end of that for you. So um let's see here. Let me see what I got. Uh, oh, really? Stephanie Magnus says Tom Hanks and his wife tested positive for corona. Really?
Oh boy.
Did not know that. So again, when I filed into the multiple cases that I filed into, that's what that round of documents look just like that, right? I'll put my own out there. I don't mind being a battering ram. I'm a pretty big guy. I can take a punch or two. Been doing that for a while. So when I send forth my documentation, right, that's the letter, the rules that I follow, right? The four corners contract law. Okay, I'm we're going to do that. No problem. I can certainly do that. I'm easy to get along with. So, you know what I love? Speaking of that, I absolutely just love this. the I caught wind that where is it? Where is it? Where is it? It's around here somewhere. Trump has taken pretty much everybody to court over this Russia hoax, right? You already know,
Uh-huh.
right? So again, me being me, I looked at the case, looked at the document. Remember when I said Trump and I have the exact same problem?
Right.
There it is. Libel, a published false statement that is damaging to a person's reputation, a written defamation. Excuse
Hmm.
me, a written defamation. Oh,
Uh-oh. We might be suing some people that have been doing that lately.
imagine that,
Hmm.
right? This is right in my notice of appearance. There it is right there. So, again, does this apply to anybody watching? Does this apply to Field and anybody else that may have this same problem
Hmm.
that I may have submitted case reports into? I would say so, right? So, the limitations of my jurisdiction, 28 USC 1443, right? Any specific emoluments that are not Republican in character or conduct or form, right? That's my oversight. And what do we know emoluments are? What do we know about emoluments? Oh, that's government. So, there's going to be providing oversight of government. I volunteered. Sweet. I can sure as hell do that. We're going to clean up this shit made up, which of course I wrote the legislation and I still, you know, I think they read it from time to time when they need a giggle because there wasn't a straight face in Washington after they read that. So,
Whoops.
but hey, that was the intended purpose, right? Everybody's jumping up and down and yelling and screaming. I just walked in there and I pulled the jester card on them. I made them laugh so hard they couldn't breathe. So, again, of all of the things that I do, you know, did it piss some people off that was the effect? The thing causing is the cause of the effect? Absolutely. Well, hence the reason that we're seeing a lot of this exact stuff now. Look, right? Personal capacity, official capacity. There it is. Right? It's so simple, it's crazy and stupid. And um, what is a fiduciary? Well, remember, in this particular case, that agreement that I entered into just so happened to be with the state of Ohio, the state in question. So, what I cannot do in my person, I cannot do through the agency of another. Yeah, we already agreed to that, dude. So, what the hell are you doing? And that's why I say it. I'm at this point in time, I'm just kind of having fun with them. And it's like, now, well, the good news is we've identified the problem. The bad news is now we got a mess to clean up and nobody wants to do any work.
Right.
Fuck. Right? It's like, God. Oh, woosah. So, and the problem with it is nobody knows really what the hell they're supposed to be doing. Well, welcome to Islam. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're not going to speak it,
right?
then don't expect to get relief or remedy from it. So,
Well, there's something about motion practice. This is pursuant to the common law here that you have a duty to respond, right? When they write something, it's called a counterclaim, and
you really
you
want to
take
know
the
what my
document.
response is at this point? You want to know what the only lawful response I have to somebody with no standing? There's only one lawful response to somebody with no standing.
Oh,
So,
it's not the way it works in a civilized society where we follow due process of law, and there's a process here.
I'll give them civil. You don't have any standing.
But
Stand over there and sit down and shut
this
up.
goes right back to silence is acquiescence. You don't rebut what's in the record. You're being silent. You have a duty to respond.
Okay. Okay. We're missing the
So
point.
we can't just sit here and say, "Oh, well, that's all shit made up," and da 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 da, and
Want to
not
bet?
respond
That was the response, right? So it was a matter of,
in writing and on the record.
you want me to read it again?
No. I'm talking
Oh,
about in general. I'm not talking about you specifically.
okay.
I'm talking about in general. The thought here is that, well, yeah, but that's all garbage and da 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 da. Or the fact that people bitch and complain that this is what they said there and this is what they're doing there. Well, yeah, where's your rebuttal? Where's your response in writing?
Mm-hmm.
Give proper notice. Insufficiency of service, insufficiency of process works both ways. And you can't talk about something in court that's not in the record.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
So, this goes right back to Trinzi versus Pagliaro. While statements made by the attorney may be enlightening to the court, they don't have any firsthand knowledge. So they can't talk about something because you can't testify from over there. You got to get up on the stand and you got to be a witness. A witness has to have firsthand knowledge. So here's the thing is, one that I try to teach people: objection, Your Honor, attempting to enter facts on the record that are not in evidence in the record. So, when they start trying to talk about something that's not been properly served to you and afforded the opportunity to give rebuttal and demand strict proof in accordance with the strict rules of evidence, you can't talk about it. Goes the same way, the other way, right? Equal, the law applies equally to all. So when they write something and they serve it to you and you do not respond and give rebuttal, do your counterclaims and rebut their crap, they get to talk about it and you don't because you didn't respond to it.
Right.
And again, back to raising your hand. We were all taught in grade school to raise our hand to be called upon to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of that process of notice of special appearance, appearing
Right.
specially, not generally,
Mm-hmm.
objecting to the personal jurisdiction. Now you've told them who you are and how you're appearing. Okay. Now they can recognize who you are because you've told them in writing.
Mm-hmm.
So, sui juris, again, of lawful age, of sound mind, and perfectly capable of handling your administrative duties. Those administrative duties is paperwork. You can't go into court, talk to the judge about something you never put in writing and properly serve to the other side and afforded them the opportunity to give rebuttal. And you can't talk about your rebuttal to something that they wrote without it being done in writing. Here's a question. What about the judge proving he or she is commissioned with a seal and proof? The judge is a disinterested third party. They're not a party to the case. You're see, this is the going off on crazy land Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
some of this stuff is true. Yeah, right. But deal with the matter that is before the court.
Mm-hmm.
What
What
you've
did
been
they bring?
served with.
Mm-hmm.
Read it word for word.
Right.
If they're citing any kind of code, statute, rule, regulation, whatever it is, go look at it. Say, hey, is this even freaking lawful? If it's not lawful, respond to them with, hey, that isn't lawful.
I'm
And
glad you
here's
brought that up.
why it's not lawful.
Right. I'm glad you brought that up because I'm gonna pull that up right here on the cover page. This covers it. This is exactly what you just got done saying verbatim. Okay. Right here. Okay. What was before the court? That information right there. Right. So when I reported this back to the legislature and saying, well, you know, you're what I said here in the document, right? If they're going to claim that this issue is proper before a court and I'm challenging that, okay, right? Because number one, there's no standing for that. And number two, um, even if there was standing, they're so far outside their statute of limitations, the stuff that we've already agreed to, right? To say nothing, it was below the $20 threshold, right? But this is what I'm saying, exactly what you just got done saying, Kirk. You have to provide the information, right? So the legislators, the persons in the committee can go to the system and pull up these numbers, these file numbers, verify in the record that what this document is true. And we did the 1,000-page documents and, you know, we see where that got us, right? Good. We can both do 1,000-page documents. Yay. Did that solve any problems? No. So can we keep it simple now? Yeah, good. Okay, this is
Mm-hmm.
keep it simple. So here's the Jeffersons and Masons process. Why both of these? I just showed this in the certificate of service. It went to both the House and the Senate in the state and federal, right? Because this is issues specifically related to money, tax case specifically. So as far as my grievance goes, that's the reason it was all ultimately dismissed and thrown out. I didn't have to go beat down a judge's door to do that, right? And guess what I just did by doing it that way? I just further established faith in why these judges granted me this standing to begin with, right? I can comply with a lawful order and do exactly what they say to do. Pretty much exactly what I've always done, right? So, this is one of the reasons I say, look, when a judge does do something for you, say thank you, right? Say, if you want their help, try saying please once in a while, right? There's not going to be a disturbance in the force, right? The world, the planet's not going to explode because you said please and thank you, right? Do you have to? No, you don't have to, but is it civil? Yes, it's civil. So, that's again, that's why I'm really doing the best I can to really help you guys get through this because I get it. You know, I asked, in the pre-show tonight, somebody had asked, I was in the other room on finishing up a call, and I heard the question come out. Well, what am I supposed to do now? And then there was discussion about it, and all I could think, and my brain went right to, I remember what happened when I asked the kid's mother that very same question, and her response to me was, "Do your freaking job. You know how to do this." She was right as usual. Again, that's why I love that standing joke. But I'm right now. I'm trying to see if I can get a. Um,
I got I got something for us out here. All right. So talking about these de facto kangaroo courts, right? And back to that. What about the commissioner and having this seal and blah, 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 and his oath and all that? Here you go. Pay attention. This is Idaho Constitution, but this is how our form of government works, right? Article 3 of the Constitution of the United States of America pretty much says the same thing. That the legislative branch, creates inferior courts, the law of creation here. Think about this for a minute. Who creates these courts? And doesn't the creator provide oversight of that which they created? Yes, as we can read right here. The judicial power of the state shall be vested in a court for the trial of impeachments, which is false under the judicial branch because the sole power of impeachment is in the House and the sole power to trial impeachment is in the Senate. So Idaho Constitution is in violation of our form of government. Article 6, Clause 2, anything in the Constitution or laws of a state to the contrary are notwithstanding. This is one of those things that are notwithstanding. Anywho, a Supreme Court, district courts, and such other courts inferior to the Supreme Court as established by the legislature. Now, the court shall constitute a unified and integrated judicial system for the administration and supervision by the Supreme Court. The jurisdiction of such inferior courts shall be as prescribed by the legislature. Until provided by law, no changes will be made in the jurisdiction or in the manner of the selection of judges of existing inferior courts. Now we're going to go back to our rights, the law, but our rights. Pay attention. Why I'm tying this together here, exactly what we've been teaching for 3 years now. All political powers inherent in the people, right? Government is what? Instituted for their equal protection and benefit. And they have the right to alter, reform, or abolish the same whenever they may deem it necessary. Now pay attention. And no special privileges or immunities shall ever be granted that may not be altered, revoked, or repealed by the legislature. Learn how our form of government works. Right of assembly. The people shall have the right to assemble in a peaceable manner, to consult for their common good. That's to call the House or Senate into assembly. We want them assembled for what? So that we can consult for our common good. And guess what else we get to do? This is our rights, right? This is how this right works. To instruct their representatives. So in other words, you got to have the knowledge, which knowledge is power. You have to have the knowledge in order to instruct them and to petition the legislature for the redress of grievances. There it is in writing, the letter of the law, our rights as the law. This is our rights. This is how our rights work. Okay? So don't try to argue with the judge and, hey, well, you don't have your oath of office and you don't have this. And you go to the legislature, demand an investigation to verify that that man who just presided over your case or your hearing is lawful in accordance with the law of its creation. If it's not, if its business practices are not within the scope and authority of the law of its creation, the emolument that was created, because we're talking about a stipend here, not a subsidy. This would be a stipend. This is a direct emolument created by the legislature. And again, what I've been finding is the fact that the legislature says, hey, summons and complaints and warrants must substantially be in this form. And they're not using proper form in the documents. That tells me that these are the kangaroo courts de facto without facts of law. The legislature didn't create these courts. They're acting outside of the law of their creation. And this is how we get them shut down. But we have to follow due process of law, right? In order to abolish these kangaroo courts, we have to go to the legislature.
I'm sitting
We have
here
to
agreeing
instruct
with
our
you.
representatives to investigate whether or not these kangaroo courts are kangaroo courts. Are they substantially operating in accordance with the law of its creation, of the legislature? Because the legislature has the power to remove those privileges and immunities, not the judicial. Stop trying to fight in the judicial. That's not proper forum or quorum. Requires a quorum, which is in the legislature. So if you want to fix the court, your local court there that's screwing you and everyone else right around you, start gathering up some people. Get a petition of remonstrance going. Break out your book, the guidebook for dummies. Make sure that it's either the Mason's Manual, Jefferson's Manual, the Reed's, or whatever one it is. Start reading your House Rules Procedure, your Senate Rules Procedure, your Joint Rules Procedure if you have them, General Assembly rules if you have those. Figure out how the rules of procedure work in the Capitol. Where are grievances? That's the court of justice. Look, wait, let me show you again. Remember, whoops, come on. I've got the right mouse, but it's being squirrely.
I hate it when the damn mouse screws up. I blame the mouse all the time.
Right? Skipping all over the place. Like, wait a minute. Okay, watch this, folks. There it is, 18. So this, again, our rights. Justice to be freely and speedily administered. Notice it says courts of justice shall be open to every person, and a speedy remedy afforded for every injury of person, property, or character, and right and justice shall be administered without sale, denial, delay, or prejudice. Now, in the judicial branch, we have what? Courts of law and courts of equity. That's the judicial branch. Courts of justice is in the House and the Senate. Okay, is everybody picking up on that? The court of justice is in the House, in the Senate.
That's right.
Not the judicial.
Nope.
Courts are not specific to the judicial branch.
That is correct. Because
there are many different types of courts in our form of government. So the thing is we have to go to the legislature in our form of government.
That's right. And because jurisdiction has to be given, it cannot be, they can't
assumed.
Just take it, right? They can't assume it. That's why when you read judicial decisions always say no jurisdiction because of X. Why? Because they didn't follow due process of law and go to the legislature. Right? They passed that pretended legislation, right? Trying to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. Right? So again, this is one of the fundamental principles of law that we went and said, okay, Congress says 1983. What say the court? Court says, use this one, 28 USC 1443, if you're talking about math and numbers. And we said, okay. So we took that jurisdiction assigned by a federal judge and went straight back to Congress and said, Congress, the judicial branch says use this one. So this is our lane that we're going to use. So we walked in with jurisdiction assigned by a federal judge. Now you know why these asshole idiots, trolls, are pulling the garbage that they're pulling, because I don't need to go ask a court for any further clarification. I already got that clarification from the judge. So again, thank you, judge. It was pretty simple, wasn't it? Because it's that first fundamental principle of group decision making. What jurisdiction are we talking about here? Right? So,
Okay, so so take a look at this, folks. This is Article 5 of the Idaho Constitution. Forms of actions abolished, which technically speaking, you can't really abolish this because this is the common law and the Constitution. But
right?
let's look at what they're actually saying here, which is actually true. The distinctions between actions at law suits at the common law, because anywhere in law where it says at law, it means at common law, and suits in equity, and the forms of all such actions and suits are hereby prohibited, and there shall be in this state but one form of action for the enforcement or protection of what? Private rights, or the redress of private wrongs. There's a clear distinction between those of us in the private and what is called public. Generally speaking, everybody's led to believe the public is as soon as you leave your front door. No, that's not what in law, what public means.
Right.
Public means that you're bound by the Constitution. You're a citizen.
That's right. So
You're a free inhabitant if you're not bound by the Constitution, which means you're an elected official or appointed into a position of public trust by an elected official. That's a citizen.
And what's that office called?
That is the public, which is what public law is for.
Right. And what's that office called? In law, what's that office called? An emolument.
Right. And then we have corporations that have to incorporate, right? In law, just like Chris did with E-clause is incorporated, okay, into the law. And we're bound by the Constitution. And I can show you that right here too. But this is what I'm trying to get at here is civil. And there shall be in this state but one form of action for the enforcement of private rights and private wrongs, which shall be denominated a civil action. So for a violation of your rights, it's civil. You can only get a monetary gain award. Okay? Now listen. Listen real close. Pay attention. Now, this is in the private. It is civil. Now, when we go for what? And every action prosecuted by the people of this state, notice it says prosecuted by the people of the state as a party. So you got to have the man who has standing in law to claim a right to a cause of action against a person charged with a public offense. For the punishment of the same shall be termed a criminal action. Now, wait a minute. If we're going to prosecute on behalf of the people and we have a grievance, we go to the legislature, not the judicial.
Right.
Because the legislature has to do the investigation. And they send that over to the executive branch for criminal indictments for a public offense. So technically speaking, everything should be civil and in the private. Unless you're bound by the Constitution, then it can be a violation of a public offense, would have to go through the legislature to investigate, to verify those claims, and if they're an elected official, to go through the impeachment process to remove them from duty. Because in our form of government, a republic, that's how our form of government works, in accordance with the letter of the law and the law of the land. Due process of law, the process that is due. So if you're going to go after these guys criminally, you have to go through the legislature. That's the process that is due to them. If you're going to bitch and complain about how your rights to due process of law are being violated, make sure that you don't violate their rights to due process of law and go to the legislature with your grievances. Because
That's right.
that's what the letter of the law, our rights, dictate that we go there.
Well, and again, if this
This
person or
isn't my
persons,
opinion.
if this person or persons is in position of an emolument and they're using that position of advantage, position of public trust, to
Mm-hmm.
violate the law, there is only one venue, quorum, that can remove them from that position. That's when
Right.
you take their ass to the cleaners, as it were, right? So, again, because, you know, um, remember what got me started into this was, hey, you're paying the money, but I'm not getting the money. Well, how the hell are you not getting the money if I'm paying the money? Right? That's literally what started me getting involved in all of this crap. So, you know, the bullshit and domestic violence notwithstanding, that was just more smear campaigns, right? That their attempts to deny and disparage, right, my rights. Well, again, because I'm really good at litigating and arguing that, you know, that was summarily deemed shit made up and done away with pretty much almost instantaneously. What my problem was is, well, if it was dismissed, why is it still on the fucking record?
Yeah.
Right? Probably the same reason that you have a action for divorce without a contract of marriage. It sounds like you and I have the same problem. Some asshole doesn't
Right.
understand what the word delete means. So,
Here, here's the thing, folks. Okay. Question is like, are all state constitutions written just like Idaho? No, they're not. But we only have one form of government. It's a constitutional republic. One form. That's it. Right? So that's the thing that we don't apparently are not quite comprehending and understanding here is we have one form of government. It's the same no matter where you're at within the United States of America.
right?
So the verbiage might be a little bit different over there as it is in this constitution and that constitution. But here's the beauty, folks. All of our rights, right, whether enumerated or unenumerated, it doesn't matter. Okay? Our form of government is the same no matter where you're at. Because remember, Article 4, Section 4 guarantees us a Republican form of government. And when I show you this stuff, this is a Declaration of Rights. If it's listed here, it's enumerated here, it's a right retained by the people, no matter what state you're in, what territory you're in. State is a state of being, such as a Christian nation where we go by the rule of law, not the rule of man or the legislature. So all of these rights happen to be enumerated here. Each state has its own enumerated rights, some more or less than others. So it's a beauty to read every other state's Bill of Rights or Declaration of Rights because they're still rights pursuant to the common law. Okay. And like James Madison said when he was writing the Ninth Amendment, that, doing the Bill of Rights specifically, was that there are so many rights to try to enumerate. There's no possible way to enumerate them all. And that is the beauty of our nation,
Right.
our union, uniting together as one, where it's published over there.
What does your
You can,
section 3 say, by the way? What's it titled?
here we go.
Okay.
State inseparable part of the union. The state of Idaho, notice where it says lowercase s, that
Okay.
is proper. The state of Idaho is an inseparable part of the American Union, and the Constitution of the United States is the supreme law of the land, supreme due process of law.
Okay. Now, I'm going to share what Texas's Article 1, Section 3 says, right? This is going to show fundamentally that remember this is from Nate's case, by the way. This is Article 1, Sections 3 and 26 from the state of Texas Constitution. So, in Section 3, it specifically talks about equal rights. Okay? All free men, when they form a social compact, have equal rights, and no man or set of men is entitled to exclusive, separate, public emoluments, right, or privileges, but in consideration of public services, right? So I still say the but in consideration of public services is some bar shit made up that was inserted later, but that's just my humble opinion. We're doing the audit. We're going to find out if that's true or not. So, Section 26, remember perpetuities and monopolies, primogeniture and entailments, right? This is Section 26, right? Because when Nate and I first hooked up, what was the thing that we were going after? The bars, what? There it is right there. Monopoly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So perpetuities, monopolies are contrary to the genius of a free government and shall never be allowed, nor shall the law of primogeniture or entailments ever be in force in this state. Well, guess what was right at the heart of the case that we took to the um well, this was a derivative from his federal case that bled over into the state remonstrance, right? So we went in there right into the court of justice, right? Justice comes before liberty, right? To secure Nate's liberty interests, right? This is the proper order, right? That um that order of operations, right? The process defines the outcome. So because we did this in the proper order, correctly, lawfully, right? Justice is to be denied to no one, right? We already know justice delayed is justice denied, and right and fraud never abide together, right? So, but the letter of the law and three principles of law hadn't even gone into too much of the Mason's manual process at that point, right? Because we already had the findings of facts and conclusions of law and jurisdiction from the judge. We didn't feel the need at the time to walk in there and smack anybody around, right? Because we behaved in a civilized manner, and we still do. This is again the reason we were granted standing in Texas as well, right? Because not only are we very good at this, we know it, and we can definitely act within the letter of the law in an official capacity, right? It's just our actions are fundamentally and principally different or reversed than this Islamic Bar Association that's penetrated our law in 1996. So that's why I said when you go into the legislature and, ask them, do you know what a republic even is? Do you know how to use one? Are you aware it comes with a user's guide? You know, it's not unlike setting the clock on the VCR. So you're going to have to do a little reading on this one. So, I mean, don't be afraid. It's going to take some time, and we get it. We understand that. So, because because people weren't doing it right, that's what got us where we are. We want to
Right.
fix it, and by fixing it, we want to do it right as to set the example moving forward, right? So when we claimed and exercised that right, okay, there was no reason to say, no, they can't do that. There was no reason to say, yeah, we're good. Denied. Nope. come on in here and have a seat. Let's talk about this a little bit. And that's what we've been doing ever since. So, you know, again, this is the origins of what started all this stuff behind me on the wall. So, um, yeah, that's about Diane Johnson on Facebook says. So, what do you do about it? You basically have to do their job for them. That's what the letter of the law says.
Yeah.
Instruct our representatives.
It's not doing your job or their job for. It's our duty to perform. Did you see reading the right that says we're supposed to instruct our representatives?
Mm-hmm.
It's like being the boss, right?
Yeah.
And your employees or servants don't really
Mm-hmm.
know what you want them to do. They're just kind of just flailing around out there.
Right.
When you walk in and go, "Hey, get to work. Here's what I want you to do. I'm instructing you to do this." Oh, yeah. It's our duty to maintain our republic.
Right. So when
This is the problem within history, is the fact that the people have been derelict in their duty to maintain our republic. Because right back to the very beginning there, hey, what have we wrought? A republic, if you can keep it.
well, again, also when we went into the legislature,
It's
right?
our duty to maintain it. We have to do this.
Right. So we have those 10 principles of group decision making, right? Well, again, we walked in there with this one in our hand, right? This we didn't walk in there and just assume it. It was given to us by a federal judge. I mean, that's a gift. That's something you say thank you for, right? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Right? Like 1,000 times thank you. So, that's why I say, there was no disturbance in the force when, I said, thank you, Judge Sparks, for granting us this standing to go in here and fix this problem, right? Because before we were always working within our jurisdictions of a corporation, right? The territorial jurisdiction of whatever the corporation was. Well, now that we're actually in an official capacity instructing our representatives, okay, well, what jurisdiction do we go under? Okay, well, you want us to not use 1983? That's fine. We'll use, because remember, we didn't want bad actors penetrating this and screwing it up, right? We said that was kind of our first principle that we established with the federal judge, right? That's what got us into this mess. What's our check and balance to keep that from happening again? And he suggested 28 USC 1443, right? Civil rights, right? That's in the PowerPoint. I'll show it to you again. And it's in the order. But when we walked in there with jurisdiction in our hand, that allowed us to go to step 2, right? There must be a decision, or there must be a meeting of the decision making group. That was assemble the body. When was the last time anybody did that? And everybody kind of looked around and went, shit, I don't know. So it's like, okay, okay, no problem. We can get through this, right? Don't fall out of your chairs, guys. This is going to get fun. Trust me on this. So, proper notice of the meeting must be given to all members of the group, right? So, we went down each one of these and even defined, right, from the Black's Law 10th edition, even what a proper quorum is, right? Okay, let's talk about what a defined proper quorum is from the dictionary. We know there's rules for a quorum. There's well dictated in the book, right? So, you know, yes, we know and understand the difference between a judicial forum and a congressional quorum where we make our presentations, right? The questions of law, which is again fundamentally and principally why I went over this on Monday Night Law, right? Have you even considered what question you're going to ask if you ever are granted standing? Right? Seriously, what question? Because you're going to have a limited amount of time. You're going to put your talking points together. Do you want to go in there and waste your time talking about your rights, or do you want to go in there and fix the problem? Right? That's the choice you need to make. That's the choice that I made. That's the choice that Nate made. That's the choice that Crystal made. That's the choice that Neely made, and so on and so on and so on and so on. And this has nothing to do with our exes and everything to do with the thing that the cause of the thing causing is the cause of the effect, right? So, we specifically went in and talked about this problem called Title IV, right? That happened way before this particular Congress that's sitting there now. I understand this happened before you guys got here. Somebody else walked into this building before we came in here and spilled a bunch of shit made up, lied their ass off to get what they got. Confidence men, confidence scheming, confidence scam, and all that scheme, scam, and fraud, and blah, 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 blah. We already know all of that, right? So, again, what's the remedy, right? Well, the remedy is repeal, okay? And the relief comes in the form of, right, reversing, right, what had happened. Well, therein lies the problem. We start reversing every one of these things all primarily at the exact same time without a check and a balance. A bunch of bad actors are going to end up back out on the street again, which we don't want. I don't want that. You don't want that. So, that's why I said I volunteered. Amber Stevens, stay with your mother. Dad's got work to do. Your mother gave me a job. I'm going to go do it. And I'm doing it. So, you know, that's why we went down in the document, these 10 principles, right? Must be a question, right? Before the group upon which it can make a decision. So make your questions a good question for the love of God, right? There must be an opportunity to debate the question. What kind of question? The question must be decided by taking a vote. So if you don't ask a good question, don't expect a good vote, right? There must be a majority vote to take an action or decide a question. I mean, we already know what these rules are. Oh, there it is. Because somebody screwed the pooch on this one. Okay, well, that could be potentially cause for us to go in there and say, yeah, maybe we need to look at this again, right? Provide a little oversight and look at this garbage, right? So whether you want to make fun of it and say, and by the way, who the hell told you guys you can make law? Because you know what law is, right? Land, air, and water. It's an acronym, right? So did they ask you to make land, air, or water here? Hence the whole climate change bullshit, the law of the air, right? So
So, go back up to number 1, would you?
number one, absolutely. There we go.
Okay. All right. So, question about and this seems to be a reoccurring question about this Noahide crap law. Okay. First of all, what does it say? Jurisdiction must be given. It cannot be assumed. Groups sometimes assume powers that they do not have. Actually, that's not what it says.
Actually, yeah, it does. I think I plagiarized it. Let me look at the book and make sure.
You did. That's
Because I was just reading that right before I shared this. I could have screwed it up. Wouldn't be the first time.
Oh, wait. No. Never mind. Okay. So there it is right here. Jurisdiction must be given. What we're talking about here is subject matter jurisdiction. Do they have jurisdiction over the subject? No. We go back to the Law of Nations written by Amr D. Vattel, Book 1, Chapter 3, Section 34. The question that was proposed was, does the legislature have the authority to alter the fundamental law or the Constitution? And it's an affirmative. No, they do not. They do not have that authority. Because, right, we the people laid down the law prior to instituting government. We instituted government to secure that law, our rights as the law. Okay? This is what they don't want you to know, is that your rights are actually the law, not statutes, rules, regulations. The Constitution is nothing but process of the law.
Right. So
Okay. Now
basically, what
hold
happened?
on. So, does Congress have the authority to enact Noahide law? No. Right here. They do not have the jurisdiction to make law, nor to subvert the law that we, the people, laid down prior to instituting government. Right there.
Clarification.
Fundamentally, principally, they do not have subject matter jurisdiction over the law themselves.
What
A
is the
congressional
Noahide
act
thing?
is not law.
Clarification, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
What is the Noahide thing?
I really don't know. But I can tell you right now, no matter what it is, no, the legislature doesn't have the authority to make law.
Right. Though
Neither
that's
does
kind of my
Congress,
point.
legislative branch.
Right.
Assembly is Congress, whether it's federal or state, it's still a Congress.
Correct. Gaggle of monkeys. Oh,
Right?
just saying.
Exactly. And it is. And it
I mean,
is.
just
Gaggle of
saying.
monkeys. Just saying.
So
10 monkeys jumping on a bed, one fall.
right. So essentially, what Kirk's talking about is this sentence right here: groups sometimes assume powers they do not have. Right. Somebody in 1996 assumed a power they didn't have. Right. Pillars of law that don't exist in this republic. And that's why they try to bully you into the shit that they bully you into. Right. Well, we've been doing it this way for 90 years. Well, I don't give a shit what you've been doing for 90 years. You've been doing it wrong, dumbass. Right.
Yeah.
So take your head out of your ass and learn how to do it the right way, or I'm going to break my 6-pillar manly firmness foot off in it. Clear? Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought, biatch. I mean, and that's pretty much exactly where we're at right now is we walked in and said, with all of the times the court, right, the judicial branch has told you people no, right? Bar members and Islam and all these foreign emoluments, these foreign actors, as many times as the court has told you no. I'm coming in here now, right, with all of the law, all of the history, all of the emoluments of my office, right, to stand up for Lady Justice and say, if the judge says quit fucking doing it, I agree with the judge, quit fucking doing it. And I can tell you right now, shit rolls downhill here because whether anybody likes it or not, right? We go back to the fundamental principle as to why I'm even here, right? You don't have the power, the standing in law to do this.
Right.
You don't have that, right? So, whether I agree with the whole child support process or not, at this point, it's academic. We've already proven it's Sharia shit and it's got no standing. Because if it wasn't Sharia shit, we wouldn't be having this problem right here, right? There's the accounting.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. So that's one of my why I love to cite the joke of, well, what are we supposed to do? Your job. You want me to do? Oh shit, she was right. God
Right.
damn.
So, the thing is we have to remember here is the law was already laid down prior to instituting government.
Right.
The only thing they have the power to do is make policy.
Right.
And policy only applies to McDonald's,
Right.
only applies to the sheriff. It only applies to members of Congress, members
Right.
of the, that's who that's supposed to apply to.
That's right.
Because we're in the private. We're not in the public. We're not
Gotcha.
bound by anything that's created by the legislature. Nothing. Unless you contract. And even Trump's been, he basically flat out said it. And I showed it in the executive order there with the executive branch and their guidance documents and their policy, their regulations. Okay. And he says, unless they're bound by it, there's a contract, right? So any agency of government has no authority to impose their policy on to the people.
Right.
Does McDonald's policy apply to us in the private when we walk into McDonald's?
Right.
No, it most certainly does not.
Cannot. It cannot. It
None
doesn't
of
have
it.
standing to do that. Right.
McDonald's doesn't have exactly. They don't have the power to make law and
Right.
enforce that law onto the people.
Right. Make me my Big Mac and fries and shut the hell up. Right. And no, you're not making $15 an hour to do that. Too bad, so sad. If I didn't make $15 an hour when I was in high school doing that job, you're not making $15 an hour doing that job now. So kick rocks. It's good for the goose, is good for the gander. Work your way up the ladder, same way everybody else did. Right.
No, no, courts of justice is not one of the Noahide laws. Courts of justice is part of our form of government.
Yeah, I don't know what that stuff is. I'd have to
I,
research into it because I'm
I
going to tell
can't
you, I
see
don't
anything in the
know.
Constitution that talks about Noahide law
I
ever,
can't, I
anywhere.
don't either. So that's why I said, as soon as you said, I'm like, what
So
the
it
hell
sounds
is
like
that?
shit made up.
Well, I don't know, Kirk. Is it something that's related to Native American tribes? Is it something that's related to, some indigenous group of people that was here before the Constitution? I don't know
Well, if
because it
that's the
sounds
case,
like
then
it could be Native American.
I know it does. But
I don't
so
know.
the thing is, then that would be their law, which they're entitled to, in my mind, in my
Right.
opinion.
Again, that's why I said this is, remember, what does the preamble say? Form that more perfect union.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is a Native American tribe that has a potential solution to this problem, like Trump and I have the exact same um, thought process when it comes to stuff like this. I'm all ears, dude.
And then we got to add the First Amendment. Congress shall make no law
Right.
regarding the establishment of a religion or the free exercise thereof or the practice of your religion. Okay, you get to
Okay.
choose, right?
Gotcha. Okay,
The
Josh.
right of self-determination.
Josh Gottlieb out here on Facebook says no hide law is biblical law, biblical as Noah. So are we talking like Noah from Noah's Ark? Noah's in the Bible, but he
Yeah,
made
and
no laws. Well, that's interesting. Noah's position in history was to care for the the animals during the flood. If doing that, all that stuff. Um,
yeah, it sounds like more of that Sharia law, Agenda 21, one world government bullshit.
I really don't
And they're
know.
saying that it came in under an educational act, unity of subject and title. How in the hell do you put
1983.
something like a Noahide law in with education?
I again I
Then again, no subject matter jurisdiction.
right.
Natural rights and civil rights have nothing to do with the establishment, support, or management of government.
Well, I'm
That's
listening to.
American Jurisprudence, Volume 15, Civil Rights, Section 2.
Okay, he says 1983, year of the Bible. There is a public law. Okay, public law. Well, that governs the public officials, persons in position of emolument.
Which they still don't have the power to make that
Well, I mean,
policy.
actually, yes, they do. Right? Let me clarify this. McDonald's decides they want to wear a uniform shirt, right? They want their employees to be uniform, right?
Mhm.
So they sit down with a group of people, they have a meeting, they put forth a plan, right, to dress their employees how they want them to look, right? That is policy. That's company policy.
Right.
Government has the ability to do that, just the same way every other company has the ability to do that. Here's where they've been overstepping, assuming powers and authorities they don't have, right? They're saying, okay, I'm going into McDonald's and I'm going to want a Big Mac, large fries, and a Coke. Nope, you're having a quarter pounder with cheese, no pickle or onion, a small fry, and a Sprite because I said so. That's not what I ordered, dude. Right? And that's exactly what these government actors, these persons in positions of emolument, these fake entitlements, right? That's what they are. There's these Sharia entitlement programs, which are not law, and they're attempting to make you believe that they do have the color of law, and they don't. Therein lies the problem. They are impersonating a government official because they do not have a proper oath of office, right? And all the necessary credentials. It's all junk science. It's all shit made up on their own computers. Right? So that's what I said. You want to look me up? You can look me up in the Secretary of State of Ohio and Florida. Both credentials on across the top there. You can verify that shit in the Secretary of State in both states. So I am incorporated into the state as a lawful corporation. Sorry about your luck, Agent 19, and the rest of you dumb fuck trolls that can't read, but it is what it is. Yes, reading means reading, and yes, there's process for that, like it or not. So, matter of fact, I just got a text message. I've got a mom here who's been doing exactly what we've been teaching, and she has arranged a meeting, and I've invited her to come on to the show if you don't mind, and to discuss her contact with a legislator and her progress as to exactly what it is they intend to do. Jamie, right? So,
Jamie?
yeah, she said
I know I've invited her on here before. She just her work schedule.
she just texted me. So you might have to open up the Zoom meeting. So she's going to text me when she's ready.
Her and Heather Brewer too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, she's turning on her computer right now. Gotcha. I'm texting in real time with Jamie. So we're going to bring Jamie on here. And
Hote buckwheat.
And you're going to get this from somebody who is doing exactly what we've been doing and teaching you guys how to do. And a mom is gonna, you're gonna hear it from a mom, not just from a dad, not just from a couple of dads here. So all right. Yeah, she sent me a nice text message earlier, so I'm gonna let her tell it because this is her thing and she's doing it, and we're very proud of her, and we want to help her and encourage her in any way we can. I'm so excited I can barely sit still. So she's getting her computer turned on right now. So go ahead.
Yep, you're right, people. We have the power because this is a right retained by the people. We have the right to instruct them. Right? We order you to investigate and verify the claims in our complaint. Got to be in proper form. We're working on that.
Right.
But, we have to instruct them. We have to tell them what to do. And then, again, you got to go to something like this that tells them that. Do you have access to that chapter 10? I know you do. But I'll read it right from the book. Page 563. Part 10, Investigations and Public Order. Chapter 73, Investigations by Legislative Bodies. Go over here to Section 10. An investigation into the management of the various institutions of the state and the departments of the state government is at all times a legitimate function of the legislature.
Which chapter?
Chapter 10. So, this is how our form of government works. It is at all times, a legitimate function of the legislature to investigate our claims that these people are trespassing the law, going back to what I just showed earlier, is because the legislature creates these kangaroo courts. Well, the thing is they didn't create them that way. They're acting outside the law of their creation. And because the legislature wrote the public law regarding the establishment of these particular courts, they're acting outside of the law of their creation. They're not acting substantially in this form.
Are you talking about investigations in public order?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's chapter 73, page 561.
No. Section 10, chapter 793. Yeah. Part 10. I gave the page number.
Page 563, correct? Bottom left, bottom right corner.
Where'd it go?
On the screen.
There we go. Yeah.
Right there.
But that's it. What I just read right there.
Mhm.
An investigation into the management of the various institutions of the state and the departments of the state government is at all times a legitimate function of the legislature.
Okay. And again, that's page 563.
So
and
when they
if you
say,
notice,
oh, well, no, we don't have that power, and say, yes, you do. It's right here in black and white.
and if they
We're
want
to instruct you.
right, and if you run into a bar member and they say, well, what's the case law? Go right to the bottom of the page, buddy.
There it is, right there at the
Right?
bottom of the page.
Right there at the bottom of the page.
Dixon v. Johnson, Arkansas, 1915.
Yep.
For section 10.
Yep. So, they want to verify that. They want to go to part 11. The right to investigate any lawful matter is a right separate and distinct in each house and may be exercised through a committee. That's ex parte Hague, right? And in New Jersey in 1929, Simpson v. Hill, and I think that's Oklahoma in 1927, and Robertson v. Peoples in 1919, South Carolina, right? So there's 3 precedents for that. They can't even challenge numbers 10 and 11 because they've already been tested. There's the precedents, right? So, if they want to argue with you on that, okay, argue with whoever you want. It's not gonna change that this is the job of the emoluments of Congress. So, and again, we finally got Jamie on here. So, we got to.
There she is.
There we go. I got to unmute you, Jamie.
So,
you look cold.
It's a damn cold here right now.
Right?
Yeah.
Not just a cold, it's a damn cold.
There's a difference.
Right? So, go ahead and I'm going to give you the floor here, and I want you to tell everybody exactly what you've been doing and who you spoke to, what the meeting was like, and what's about to happen, because this is exciting. I'm so excited I can barely stand it. So
Yes. Okay, so everybody has the right to redress, is that correct? Absolutely. Okay.
yeah, if I don't like the clothes I'm wearing, I can take them off and redress myself.
Or there's that.
I don't know. Talking to a woman, you guys know all about that, right?
Oh,
Change your clothes 3 different times before you leave the house.
yeah, probably not me anyways, but yeah, I guess mostly.
A little sarcasm. Come on now.
I-
All right. So Jamie has been a little go-getter out there. She's actually picked up what we've been teaching and using it and having, I don't know, a little bit of success out there.
Yes. Okay. So, it started a few years ago. I sat back on all kinds of different platforms and just watched. I never said a word to anybody in any group. I sat back and I watched. Not till up to maybe March, April of last year is when I actually got active in these platforms. But before that, I sat back, I learned, I took all this knowledge from different platforms and was able to fit them together. So you got these people out here saying this doesn't work and this doesn't work and this doesn't work. If you put your mind to it, read. Reading means reading. We all know this.
Say it isn't so.
No.
Take it in.
Man.
Take it in. Take that knowledge in. You can fit anything together. What these guys are teaching is no joke. It works. So I have went up to the Capitol a few times. I have petitioned a few times. Petitioned with one remonstrance. However, I have 2 more remonstrances coming. I am working with different families in Minnesota. We have a total of 19 remonstrances that will hit the floor in Minnesota this year. Okay.
Rock and roll,
And
baby.
on top of that, I did put at the last hearing I was at in St. Paul, I did let all, like the Madam Chair and all the servants know that 19 were coming. So it's not like they can be blindsided by anything, because guess what? I warned you.
People are waking up.
Yes. And I got a little grief the last time I went to the Capitol to speak, because it was about a certain movement that was there. Okay, I don't care what kind of movement was there. I seen that, hey, they're going to have a public forum. There's a little area where it says the public can speak. I don't stick to one kind. I'm not that kind of person. I will go to bat for anyone. If you want to do the right thing and you want to be heard. But where I got the grief is what I said this time. Because they know when I come and speak, that's okay.
No,
And I
say it
was a
ain't
little
so.
choked up because guess what? I had to sit through parents' testimonies. And that's one of the hardest things you can do. And then go in there and speak. So I let myself feel, I already knew what I was going to say, and it totally wasn't what I was going to say.
Right.
But after listening to all of that, I'm like, okay, this is time where I say, hey, Madam Chair and public servants, because that's what you are. You are
That's
here
right.
for the people. I also reminded them, I asked them, I said, do you know what due process is? Because I bet you these parents out here don't know what due process is. So I
Right.
turned around to the crowd and said, due process is taking your petition to these guys right here. That's due process.
Sure is.
I got to meet with a prior senator. She's no longer a senator. She got voted out the last term, blah, blah, blah. She was there for actually the people. So when she seen that I was there, she came over to me and she's like, oh my gosh, Jamie, what are you going to say? So, I'm not sure yet. Let me feel it out and see what's going on, and then seeing that my name should have been called a long time ago, I'm like, crap. But you know what? I think it's time to put them in check. What do you mean? What are you going to say? I said, nothing bad. I said, because I can see that there's a few paying attention out there. And I'll make sure that they know and they're thanked for paying attention. And, and I also addressed to the point of, I thank our public servants for being there to listen to these parents. But I also addressed how disappointed I was of all the empty seats. Nonetheless, I expressed to the crowd and our public servants that if you wanted full seats, you called nothing less than a quorum.
That's right.
Well,
Yeah,
if
the
you,
Constitution requires a quorum, which is a majority. I've called you into session. I've called you into assembly. Why are you not here? That's an emoluments violation.
absolutely,
You're
absolutely.
you're supposed to be a public servant, and I've called you into assembly to redress my grievances. Where are you? This is your job. You don't show up to work at McDonald's to make French fries, you get fired.
I think I read that in the manual somewhere once. Just
Good old
saying.
Manuel.
Yes. So then, sorry.
It's okay.
And we got
Okay.
bosses in the room there. Are you kidding me? Little ones, they're the boss.
Yes, they
That's right.
are. They totally are the boss. And
They
I have
get
a
it.
swing. I have a swing hanging from my living room. It's like one of them toddler swings. And
Okay.
that's where he's at. So he needs
Oh,
to be
I
swung.
see. I gotcha.
Okay, so I did remind them that, and nothing less than a quorum. And then the look on their face when I was finished talking was priceless because they always had a comeback with everybody that was there. But before that happened, I told, and if anybody watched this, you guys would know and understand why I told Madam Chair to stop telling these parents to go to DHS when the problem it has started there.
Right.
And she's like, well, they can do what they want to. Stop telling them because they don't want to.
Right.
Why
Right.
would you tell them that?
That's not due process of law.
No.
DHS is the shit made up.
So this was
Right.
prior to
Legislature, you're the one that made these people, and we just read right here from the Mason's Manual that it at all times is a legitimate function of the legislature to investigate this. And I'm here to instruct you to do your job.
yes.
That's one of your duties to perform if you want to keep receiving those stipends.
That's right.
That is right. I can't even think what Madam Chair's name was that day. You could hardly read the writing is so tiny up there in front of them. But Senator Hoffman was sitting right next door to her, and he is very familiar with what I have to say, and that he's another one I keep my eye on. But okay, it goes back to the fact that that's the only thing she had to say to me. So when I ended it with you called nothing less than a quorum, and oh no, I ended it with the 19 remonstrances coming your way.
Uh-huh.
The look on their face was like,
Did they even
What?
know what a
Crap,
remonstrance
the people
was?
are waking up and they're coming to us.
Right.
That's right. We're supposed to
Right.
be coming to you guys. You're the representatives of the people.
Right.
She had
And
nothing to
we have
say.
the right and the duty and the power to instruct you to alter, reform, or abolish. That's our right. That's our authority. And it's supposed to be
Yeah.
exercised through them as we instruct them to perform those specific duties under their emolument, the quid pro quo, the what for what. This is the first part of the what in order to receive the what. That
Right.
emolument, this is one of your duties to perform here. You don't want to
Yes.
perform those duties, you're fired.
And I pointed that out, and I know some of you guys have watched it. I did point that out that I will hold a judge on emoluments violation. I did not say public servants because I wasn't at that point yet.
Right.
Because this was about the parents and the corrupt. And I pointed out that there is racket going on, and I have proof. I have proof in like 4 or 5 counties in this
Right.
state.
Well, and
try
again,
to
That's out
stay
their
away.
bonds.
Try to stay away from that racketeering and all that stuff.
right.
Oh,
Use
I
the
know.
emoluments clause.
I'm sticking all to emoluments. Don't,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I needed to point out the fact that there's stuff going on.
Well,
Right.
and
So I
again,
did say that I would hold them on emoluments violation, not how.
right. And exactly to the point, right? Because
Yes.
what you're saying here, right? They're going to say, well, what's a remonstrance? Well, a petition prays something and a remonstrance has no prayer, right? A remonstrance is a command from the people, right? So I said, okay, I can either command in my personal or in my official capacity, right? So, judiciary, if you want me to command in an official capacity, what jurisdiction would that be, right? And they said, we'll use this one, and it's okay. I can certainly do that. And it was not just the cases that we brought forward, there was how many others that met the same criteria that we had already established, right? Fundamentally and principally, right? Which clarified the Sharia SMU, right? And it was like, okay, now that we've identified the problem, okay, we are going to oversee this problem until we get it rectified, right? So if you have your Jeffersons, this is what I think that's page 47, section 19 there, right? And I've actually put this, let me zoom out a little bit here, and anybody that wants to kind of screenshot this section, see if I can make that fit the screen a little bit better for you. Sorry. Damn it. Trying to make this work, guys. Bear with me here. I know you guys are really trying to get this information as fast as you can. And I get it. Ooh, there we go. I think that's about as big as I can
You
make
go
it.
way bigger than that.
Well, in order to get everything from I get all of the writing from a petition, prays something, remonstrance has no prayer, to the bottom section right here where it stops before it goes to the next page. So,
and what is this from?
This is Jefferson's, right? So this section right here is right out of Jefferson's. If you want to take this process to Washington, right, and join the quorum, the big quorum, that's with me and Kirk and Neely and Nate and everybody else. Okay. What we're doing is we are going to follow the four corners rule. Nate and I have already discussed it. I got to get with Neely. I've already ordered the paper, and we're going to start our next round of documents is going to be in this format, 8.5 by 14 with the four corners covered, right? So whatever that's going to look like, right? Remember, some of this stuff has moved around a little bit since we started. This was just us horsing around. But, this way, just to kind of help clarify that.
Yeah. I want to go back to what Jamie was talking about here, and let me show you.
This is how we want to help you guys get in to do exactly what Jamie's doing here.
My number one focus here is
hold on here.
Okay.
So, God forbid we have ethics in government.
No.
Title 74, Transparent and Ethical Government. Chapter 2, Open Meetings Law. Formation of public policy. Imagine that. They only make policy. They don't make law.
Right.
You see, they call it open meetings law. This is the law regarding open meetings.
Right.
And they make the formation of public policy.
Right.
Ah, really? Let's go look at that.
So who's bound to that? And there's the question.
Hold on. This is it right here. Formation of public policy at open meetings. The people of the state of, I notice it's lowercase s, state of Idaho, in creating the instruments of government that serve them, that makes them all servants. Oh, those sovereign citizen folks out there hate this one. Do not yield their sovereignty to the agencies so created. Police officer. We, the people, do not yield our sovereignty, our natural God-given rights, to you.
Nope.
None. Therefore, the legislature finds and declares that it is the policy of this state that the formation of public policy is public business and shall not be conducted in secret.
That's right. That means those meetings are supposed to be in camera. So explain these star chambers for us.
In open court, the court of justice, and on the record.
There you go.
All courts are to be open without sale, denial, or delay.
Right.
Bingo.
So then why are they pulling this bullshit that we can't record, right, in these public emoluments? I got a problem with that because that's contradictory to the letter of the law. Right?
I mean, this is just a statement of fact. The people of the state of Idaho, in creating the instruments of government that serve them, do not yield their sovereignty to the agency so created. In other words, none of the policy for the agency, even created by the legislature, has the force and effect of law
Right.
on the people at all. None. Zero. It cannot. It's policy.
Right.
McDonald's policy does not apply to the people.
Right on.
There it is, even in their own freaking words in the Idaho Code, which is not law.
There you go.
It's policy. And it's the policy of this state.
And you didn't write it, right?
Oh,
That's not something you made up, right? That was there before.
Yeah.
That's been there a while. So, right? So
yes, it was added in 2015.
oh, there you go. So, since
But
2015,
I'm pretty sure it
that
was
we
in
can
there
prove.
before.
Yeah,
It was just located somewhere else.
exactly. Kind of that moving shit around, right? Move the ball on you so you can't find it, little bastards, right?
So that's the thing is they are servants, right?
That's
You go
right.
into McDonald's and you order that Big Mac, fries, and a drink. They are to serve you because that's what they're being paid to do.
And who are they being paid by?
Us.
Yes, we sign their paychecks.
Yep.
And guess what? Isn't that instrument that serves us dictate what their emoluments are? The scope and authority of that seat in government they sit in?
How can they even
And
do that?
don't our rights as the law dictate to them the powers we have and the powers they don't have?
There you
Because
go.
those are rights
Bingo.
retained by the people,
Right.
cannot be exercised by them without the consent of the governed.
Right.
That's a republic.
That's
A
right.
democracy, now, on the other hand, would be, well, we're going to go ahead and take and assume subject matter jurisdiction over here, and we're going to take and assume that we have this authority to make this policy, and we're going to tell the people that this is the law for the state. That's what's going on. And nobody's standing up to him then saying, no, I'm going to remonstrate on that. You don't have that authority. You don't have that subject matter jurisdiction. You don't have even the power to make policy regarding my natural God-given rights at all. Unless you're going to say it's a policy based on this particular agency, you can't do this.
Right. So basically, what they've done, right, with this agenda
Just saying.
bullshit. Okay, what this goes exactly what Kirk's talking about. With this all caps, right? The death estate, right? That's what this is. Death to America. This is Islam. Death to America. What's the death? The corporation, right? The corporate state. Interdicting all commerce onto the people, right? Corporation, corpse, shit made up. So if you go back and you look at the original seal of the state of Florida, looks exactly like this, except it's written in sentence case. It's not written in all caps. This is the death surrounding the all caps corporate state of Florida. So I said, you want to play Monopoly Corporation with me? Oh, you son of a bitch. Yeah, that's a bad idea. You are not going to like the end result of this one. So, I, upon law of discoveries, right, pulled that up there and said, you are aware that the all cap spelling means death and all that. Huh? What? Have you not been to a graveyard recently? I never thought about that. Okay, I get it. I understand. Focus. Woosah. You know, this is the whole where I have to kind of take a step back and go, that's right. I was at work all day long. These people weren't taught this stuff. For some reason they believe reading doesn't mean reading. I'm still trying to wrap my head around that, right? So, it's But I mean, that is in fact the point, right? So a lot of the question becomes, did you even know that X, whatever X is? No, I didn't know that. Okay, well, here's the law, here's the history, here was what the judges, here's what the court said about this way, 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 way back when. This this crap was answered way before we were even a thing, dude. So these are the attacks by these foreign emoluments, these foreign states, right, with their foreign shit made up, right? And I'm working on another piece of legislation. This one is not going to be anything like shit made up. So this one's going to be a little bit more commensurate with, I'll just go ahead and let it out of the bag, liberty and the conflicts between statutes, statute of liberty, right? Statue of liberty, statute of liberty. And of course, the sounds of liberty, the Liberty Bell. So I'm working on this as we go along here, and I've already gotten some of it written. It's going to be kind of cool. There's a lot of history in there, you know, where the Statue of Liberty came from, the history of the Liberty Bell and the Independence Hall and all that. So if you guys love history, you're going to love this piece of legislation because man, is it full of history. So, um, but that's just me not doing anything small. So, but no, and I promise this one, you could even read this one before a kindergarten class and there won't be any bad language in it. So, uh, yeah, that's a good point. Candy out on Facebook says perhaps E-Clause needs to give some legislators a few classes. Well, that's kind of the point of what we do here. And, you know, having Jamie on the show tonight to clarify that she's duplicating exactly what we've already started, right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, to see the expressions on their faces, right? It clarifies how much, number one, they really don't know, right? And of course, what they do know and what is actually trying to hide, right? Because the ones that are not in the room, they're the ones that are hiding, right? They're the ones that are caught, and they don't want to be in the room when you start bringing this up because you know their facial expressions, their skin tone, and and all those tattletale signs of being caught in a lie, those are going to come out, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
that's specifically the reason why a lot of these actors who really know what the hell they've been doing and are the corrupt ones, that's why they're running away, right? So the good ones, the ones who are going, yeah, where the hell's Ralph? Where the hell's Fred? You know, I don't know. We're supposed to be here, right?
Can I add something to that, Chris?
Sure.
Okay, so what he is speaking of right here is what I studied. Okay, so I
Mhm.
went back to the archives here in Minnesota and I study our public servants. Okay, I
Cool.
pay attention to who's paying attention, who's listening, who's
Right.
interested, who is not, who is not paying attention, who doesn't care.
Right.
So
Okay.
I knew that day. Okay, and I really like Senator Hoffman. Okay, there's not many people that do, but let me tell you, he wants facts. He's one of them public servants that was sitting in the background when Dwight Mitchell was up there giving him the correct and accurate numbers of children out of placement versus the numbers that DHS has. Dwight Mitchell had facts. He's like in the background like this, like I want them numbers. I want the
Right.
numbers, you know?
Right.
That's the stuff you need to pay attention to.
Right.
Okay.
That's right.
So
So I do my homework.
I want
Um,
I want to reiterate, but clarify, and for any judge or member of the bar, or representative, senator, whatever position of employment, emolument that you're in, I want you to understand that we know that we've all been lied to. We've all been taught wrong. Okay. which is why we're doing what we're doing. We're trying to educate the people in mass, right? So we do have compassion for our fellow man, and we do understand that everybody was taught wrong. So, the thing is we need to pay attention. We need to read, because reading actually means reading. Look at them books that Chris has got on his shelf. Look at them books that I got on my shelf. Tons of them.
Right.
We've been reading a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's a drop in the bucket what I have on my computers over the years since I've been studying for the last 25 years. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what I have a problem with is when you go to work at McDonald's, you get your job description. You're told what your job description is. Okay. When you're elected as a representative of the people, remember, of the people, by the people, for the people, you should know what your job description is, what it entails, and everything that the duties you are supposed to perform to receive that paycheck. Because that's what we're paying you for, is to know your job. And it boggles my mind when we have to fight for our rights for you to perform the duties under your emolument that you're already supposed to know. You're deemed to know the law when you take that position of employment or holding of office. Because again, an emolument is any advantage, profit, or gain received due to one's position of employment or holding office.
That's right.
An emolument is lawful. It's an emolument's violation when you use your position as an advantage to procure, right?
Right.
Any of that, or just straight up using your position as an advantage to subvert the law. So stop doing that. Start following, like Trump said, start following the law, the Declaration of Independence in proclamation. Okay. The Declaration of Independence, Constitution of the United States of America, and the Bill of Rights. That's the minimum standard for our republic.
Right.
All three of those documents.
And again, if there's something going on that you don't know, don't be afraid to ask. Right.
Right.
Hey,
right.
Phone is I will take any call from any legislator at any time. Any legislative aid at any time. Hell, even a judge at any time. Even a lawyer.
Heck, you
at
guys
any
are sitting
time.
in session and you want to call me and put me on speakerphone.
Right.
I'll
If
sit
a member
right
of
down
the bar,
here, pull up the law, and read it to you.
Yeah, if a member
Not
of
a
the bar
problem.
goes, "Hey, I'm sick of being lied to. How do I fix it?"
And heck, I'm a mile as a bird flies, less than a mile from my state capital.
So
I can be there in about 15 minutes if you really need me to come there speak it, because I've kind of got it all retained up here.
Right.
There's some stuff I still have to go back and look for, but I'll at least know where to find it and what books to bring with me.
That's right.
What
You want
information
me
to
to
bring with me.
assemble?
So
right. I will put together a PowerPoint, talking points. I'll even bring the source materials. Right.
You can email me, you can phone call me, you can message me, whatever form of communication you need to use to get a hold of me. By all means, please, if you have a question of the law, don't go to a bar member.
Yeah, please.
Because they don't know the law. They were lied to. They were taught wrong. And this is the thing. We're having multiple bar members of the bar now that are going, we went and verified what you guys have been teaching, and you're absolutely correct. Well, yeah, because we show the law, the letter of the law behind it.
Right.
This isn't just our shit made up behind the scenes here.
Right.
This isn't our feelings or opinions.
Right.
We show the actual letter of the law. So you can't argue with the letter of the law.
Nope.
You're not arguing with us. You're trying to argue with the law.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose that argument every time.
That's right.
Because we didn't write it, and it's not our opinion. Okay? So,
well, and again,
we're supposed to go by the rule of law, not the rule of man, not your personal feelings. And this is why we're not supposed to have parties in our form of government.
So that's what I said, right? To be able to point out, right, who it was that actually assembled the First Continental Congress and why corporations are even registered with government to begin with, right? Because we're not supposed to be paying taxes, dude. We're supposed to be assembling stores of weapons and ammunition. Remember, we read it from Annals of America. That's our contributions to protect the country, defend the nation, right? Tax dollars are to do what? Build roads, bridges, water
Pay
supply,
the
pay the
bill.
bills, right? That's what those taxes are for, to pay the bills, which I don't mind contributing. I've been doing that all of my life, right? I don't care about that. But if I give you $1,000 to pay the tax bill of blah blah blah, all $1,000 better be going to tax bill blah blah blah. If I give you $1,250 to go to my ex-wife and my kids, they better get $1,250, or somebody's ass is in a sling. Because as an auditor, I'm really good at audits. I will find what you screwed up or who screwed what up, and God help them when I get my hands around their throat, because they'll be begging to go to jail. You don't steal from my kids and think you're going to walk away unscathed. Bullshit. So,
Right.
I don't care how much their mother pissed me off or whatever she pissed me off. That's notwithstanding at this point. That's got nothing to do with her. This has everything to do with the son of a bitches who are stealing from my kids. No, you're not. No, you're not. Take your Islamic bullshit and go back off in your own backyard. Not in my republic, you're not. So, this is exactly what it looks like when daddy comes home from work. That 6-pillar manly firmness foot, right? So, if this is what we've come to, it's going to get ugly.
To comment out here about the separation of church and state. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, there is supposed to be a separation of church and state. The state has no authority over the church.
Nope.
That's supposed to be where our education comes from, is the church,
Well,
not the state.
what
Although it
is
does say, oh, well, the state's supposed to create, public schools
wrong?
for further
Bullshit.
education. But
First Amendment, actually, article in addition to, if you've been hanging with us for a
you're
while.
going to be politically correct.
Yeah. Amendment 1. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. That's what it says, and I didn't write it. So if anybody has any question about that, see the damn law.
Not only that, was just reading here what Monday night in the Chief Justice Story, commentaries on the Constitution by Chief Justice Story. There's a great part of that. I'm not going to pull it up now. We're running out of time. Shit, we're already past. Anyway,
What else is new?
he talks about the First Amendment. This is the commentaries, and man, it's a beautiful read, and it just totally annihilates most all of this public law, public policy regarding natural rights and God-given rights. They're supposed to be secured and exempt from the legislature. That's
right.
because Congress shall make no law. There it is, regarding our, and it's been said that the First Amendment really is about all of our natural rights, God-given rights, and our civil rights, which have nothing to do with the establishment, support, or management of government. That's what really the First Amendment, or Article the First, is about.
Yeah.
Is to limit all of government, all Congress, whether state or federal. You don't have subject matter jurisdiction over those rights at all.
That's right. So you want to close it out for us, brother? You want me to?
All right, I'll do it. So thank you for turning in over here to Kirk's Law Corner, and hopefully you're getting educated like we have over time. Granted, it's we've spent quite a few hours, days, weeks, months, years doing this. So we do not expect you all to get this overnight.
Right.
But stay tuned.
Right.
Keep tuning in, getting little bits and pieces at a time. You'll get it.
Well,
I promise you.
What happens, right? Like why we brought Jamie on the show tonight, right?
Right.
She got it. She's doing it. and she has begun the networking process. I am so happy for you, Jamie. I
Me
have
too.
Thanks, you guys. You
absolutely
guys have showed
no
me the
words.
way.
I
You've
have
shown me
no
the way.
words for
And
how
I've
happy I
had
am.
senators reach out to me.
Uh-huh.
So I sent out some emails today. So if I get some positive feedback, I think it will be time for a special meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
by all means. Kirk and I both have the ability to do up to 100 people in a Zoom meeting, right? So, we can share documents, we can go over the book, right? The Mason's Manual.
Mm-hmm.
I have Jefferson's, I have Reed's, I have them all digitized. So, alls I need is, they want me to put a PowerPoint together. I'll go over one of the PowerPoints I have, and we can do pretty much anything they want to do. So, you know,
So
wha-
if you folks out there would, maybe you just can't do this stuff and you feel helpless. Well, you can do something by help supporting us, like the original 3%. The
right,
original 3% was in support and defense of those like us making law or changing the law or getting it
Bringing
back
back
into
the
a Republican form of government,
right,
because this is what we've dedicated our lives to.
right.
So if you'd be so kind and help support us in our endeavors to do this for you, which is what we're going to do. Well, we're going to do this regardless. But go back.
Oh, did I
Um,
drop the damn
you
thing?
know,
Yeah, I did.
help us out here. Keep us going. Help us pay our bills and the costs. I mean, costs are starting to get astronomical in printing all this stuff out in ink and paper, and
Right.
not to mention the amount of time we spend doing this,
Yeah.
aside from just the shows.
And we won't even talk
I
about
don't have
shipping.
black circles around my eyes uh, for no reason. Been
Right.
many hours of reading and studying and trying to figure out a way to fix this. So
Right.
please help support us in our endeavors here. And at the office there for me, if you want to send something in the mail, like a postal money order, cashier's check, money wrapped in a aluminum foil, anything like that, or like I got a 1963 50-cent piece today in the mail. So thank you. It's silver. There's the office address, 6477 West Fairview Avenue, Suite C, Boise, Idaho, 83705. My PayPal is Kirk_Pendergrass at hotmail.com. And the one under that is the Cash App. So the $, capital K, capital P, lowercase en 71 will get you through to my Cash App. And then for Chris,
Whoop. There we go.
that's his mailing address over there, 16062 Southwest 34 Court Road. I have to
Imagine
laugh
that.
about that one.
Imagine
He's
that.
over there in Ocala, Florida. 34473 is the zip code. And his PayPal is eclausllc@gmail.com. And the same goes for him, postal money orders, cashier's check, PayPal, whatever you feel necessary.
Yeah. And also, we've got Patreon. I did set up Patreon now. And real quick, whoops, I think I can have the capabilities to, yeah, I can pull that up and share that right here at the drop of a hat. So there it is. And should be supposed to be already logged in.
What's the YouTube the Facebook group for you that you're working out of Minnesota, Jamie?
Minnesota of E-Clause.
And that's the name of that group. Thought it was
Um,
E-Clause Minnesota, or is it Minnesota E-Clause?
I'm not sure. There's also another one. E-Clause. I think it's E-Clause of Minnesota.
Yeah, I think it is E-Clause of Minnesota.
Yes.
So if you're on Facebook and want to get into that group in the Minnesota area, I would highly recommend you get in there, working with some of the good people over there in Minnesota. Same thing for your state, your local area. Start looking for people in your local area to start working with, because you know we have a lot more power in numbers, right? Multitude of counsel. But when you walk in together to the legislature and you want to file remonstrances, and there's a group of you, they're going to pay attention. And I know that they're corrupt. I know that they're going to have those gatekeepers there. But be prepared when you go in there with this knowledge and say, no, no, no. Here's the law that says this. Here's my right, and I'm here to claim and exercise this right. If you don't want to do your job under your emolument that you're getting paid for, that's an emoluments violation. And I may do a remonstrance against you.
Right.
You don't want to do your job, you're fired. Because
That,
this is what it says right here.
On the Patreon site, I just remembered that screenshot I was sharing tonight. I already got it up here on the Patreon site. So you guys can go check out the Patreon page, right? PowerPoints, I'm getting those uploaded into the sections there, into the post. So you guys can download those, review them at your leisure, forward them on to whomever. You can just go through them yourself, make notes about your case and how those sections from the PowerPoints apply to your case, right? And help you structure your talking points, right? Which is pretty much exactly what I know Jamie's been working on. So, again, if you're going to go before the legislature, make sure you have a very good, intelligent question ready to go. Right?
And
so
here's the beauty of all this, right? You have time to put this stuff in writing. So if you have a hard time speaking in public, right, put it in writing and just read. And then not only that, clear, concise statements of facts of law, facts of your rights, and facts of who's doing what, where, and when.
Right.
And why you're demanding an investigation. Go ahead, Jamie.
Okay, so for those of you in Minnesota that want to speak, they're going to give you 3 minutes, just like Dwight Mitchell. He petitioned this. This was his day. That was his day when I went and speak. Okay, they cut him off. Okay, so be ready with numbers. Have your paper written out. Pass it off every 3 minutes. You just keep going. Okay,
Yep.
That's what your plan needs to be. Because if they want to cut you off, hey, that's fine. I'm done. Here you go. It will continue. You will be heard.
And again, there's also another thing you can do, and we're working on this in the California project. If you can't speak, but you want to help somebody who can, you can still petition, and you can do what's called, I wish to yield my time to whomever you
That's right. I was just going to go to there.
wish to present, right? So this is something that I'm working on with the Cali project, right? Do they want me to come up and give my opening statement in person, or do they want me to just do it on paper? And I'll formally yield my time to the team that's out there, right? And so again, you guys put it together however you want to do it. If I understand not everybody can untie their tongue and do what Kirk and Jamie and myself and others have done, right? But it doesn't change the fact you don't have standing and you don't have a legitimate, weed up your ass and legitimate gripe, right? So,
right.
If you can find people that are similarly aggrieved for whatever the reason is, right, and work together, find a spokesperson and yield your time to them, and then just say, okay, I have 3 minutes. I'm going to yield my time to Kirk, right? Because Kirk is an expert, what I believe to be an expert on this particular subject matter. And I think after hearing him, you will agree. So, and again, that's why I said it's a way to work together, right? So, I mean, if your participation is just to claim your time and then yield it to somebody who can utilize it, hey, you did your job.
Teamwork.
That's all. You did your job. So
I'll admit, back in the day before I really got into any, I wasn't into public speaking. I was the shy, kind of quiet guy. I know it's kind of weird to think of me being a shy, quiet guy. In the private, not so shy and quiet, right?
Dusty in here.
But out in the public, Yeah, I was the shy, kind of quiet guy, but you know, something has been instilled in me, and I feel God inspired and pushed to do this. Right, this is
Right.
God calling me to duty here. He didn't give me this brain for nothing, right? Not to sit around and fix cars all day
Right.
or fix computers or do electrical work in your house or plumbing or put siding on your house or roof on your no. I think God's given me this brain for other purposes. And
Hmm.
I've taken up that duty. I'm here. It's what I'm doing. So it is what it is. I've learned to speak publicly, and the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And
Oh yeah.
you'll, knowledge is power. Once you have this knowledge, I'm telling you, it literally empowers you.
It gets
It
you
just
excited.
rolls right off your tongue when you know it.
Yeah.
And then that's when you start speaking, is because you know it. And then it's like it just rolls right out. The first couple of times you start doing it, you're going to be like, damn, I actually did pretty good. Yeah.
Right.
And it helps to have other people there standing with you and supporting you and, giving you the little nudge that you need to get up there and do this. But that's what it's going to
Yes.
take, folks,
Yes.
because
Looks
the
like we.
squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Right. We
If you're
have a
not
new.
squeaking loud enough, it's not going to get greased.
Yes,
So,
we have a new. Looks like a new mom on here from Texas.
mm,
Any in Texas? Ironically, yes. Please don't get mad at me if I pronounce your name wrong. Tracy. I'm going to assume it's Tracy, just a different spelling.
I don't
Hey,
think Jamie has a YouTube.
um,
I don't.
Texas was actually my first client. So Nate was actually my first case, and ironically, it was in um, the uh, it was in it was Altenhofen versus Ector County. So, and this was right there, emoluments violations. So this was we actually got a standing mandate and took it back through, and yeah. So again, you can reach out to Nate, and we're getting ready to come back into Texas again. We're getting ready to hit Florida. We're getting ready to hit Kentucky. We're getting ready to hit South Carolina, Georgia, Ohio, California, New York. And I want to say there's one other one with this next round of documents, but I cannot say it off the top of my head. Sorry if I'm just spacing it because I'm extremely tired. But, um, this next round that's going out, that's going to look like the stuff you see behind me on the board here. Um, it's going to be, this one is going to be the, clean the tables, clean the slate. So, I hope that answers you guys' question. So, if you guys want to join us in the after show, please by all means do so. We're going to hang out for a little while anyway. So,
Thank you, Jamie, for coming on tonight and sharing with us
Yes,
and
thank you
sharing with
guys.
them out there. So make sure you
absolutely.
do on Facebook there, like, follow, and share. And as well out here on YouTube, do the thumbs up and share, as well as
Mhm.
subscribe.
That's right.
Other than that, have a wonderful night. We love y'all, and we will see you Friday night for a little bit of fun on Friday Night Fun Night.
That's right. Get everybody and good night, everybody. And we are proud of Jamie. So, congratulations, Jamie.
Thank you.